After a long period of silence, Honda's boss has finally spoken out about Marc Marquez, a figure who was once their proud icon, but now shines on a rival's bike. This statement seems to reopen an old page full of sweet memories, as well as wounds that have not fully healed. What exactly is Honda trying to say, and what is their view of Marquez's current moves? Let's discuss it. This season Marquez, now 31 years old, has shown that he is still the biggest threat on the track. In the first 5 rounds of MotoGP 2025, he managed to win all the sprint races and score 3 victories in the main race, even though he crashed once and finished 12th due to technical problems. And most surprisingly, Marquez is now just 1 point behind the leader of the standings, who is none other than his own younger brother, Alex Marquez. His journey has clearly not been an easy one. After years of injury, surgery, and loss of confidence in Honda, he is now back on his feet. But not with his young body and old bike, but with more determination, experience, and a steely will. Behind Marc Marquez's brilliant achievements with Ducati, there is a burning ember of competition in the Ducati Lenovo team garage. The internal atmosphere is getting hotter and hotter, and the focus is now on Francesco "Pecco" Bagnaia, the 2-time world champion who is showing signs of fading. Of the 5 series that have taken place this season, Pecco has only managed 1 victory, and that was when Marquez crashed out at the American GP. Andrea Dovizioso, Marquez's former fierce rival and MotoGP legend, offered a sharp analysis of Pecco's current state. "His mental load is very heavy," said Dovi. "Pecco can't perform freely. He looks as if he's tied down by the enormous pressure that continues to loom over him. And now that pressure is even more real because his teammate is Marc Marquez." This statement was backed up by Michel Pirro, Ducati's main test rider, who has witnessed Marquez's mad talent firsthand. He expressed his admiration. Marc's bike was badly damaged after the incident in practice, but he still managed to record a time just 0.137 seconds behind Pecco, who managed to get on the podium. Technically, this should be impossible. But this is Marc. The increasingly intense internal rivalry between Marquez and Bagnaia is not just about speed, but also about who can withstand the pressure. And at Ducati, the pressure is now boiling over. Any doubts about Marc Marquez seem to crumble on this day under the blazing sun of Jerez, Spain, as the MotoGP stage turned into an arena of true courage. In a race full of tension and adrenaline, Marquez was involved in a heated duel with Francesco Bagnaia. However, on the 20th lap everything seemed to end. A terrible accident befell Marc. The wing of his bike broke, the fairing split in 2, and the underside of the bike scraped hard against the tarmac, creating literal and metaphorical sparks from a battle. But what happened next was like something out of a hero movie. Marquez, his body visibly in pain and his bike barely roadworthy, got up. He restarted his dying engine and returned to the track without a hint of hesitation. The crowd was amazed as he began to overtake his rivals one by one as if nothing had happened. With a broken bike, he rode on to the finish line, finishing the race in 12th place and taking home 4 points, which felt more valuable than a podium. But his accomplishment that day was not about numbers. Marquez achieved something far greater: recognition, respect, and admiration. He proved that the soul of a champion cannot be destroyed by engine failure, statistics, or age. Alex Espargaro, who was also passed by Marquez despite his Honda nearly being destroyed, could only shake his head in disbelief. "He was a monster. I can't believe it," he said. That short statement reflected the feeling of everyone watching, that on this day we were seeing not just a rider, but a living legend who never gave up. Amidst the spotlight and excitement of the 2025 MotoGP season full of surprises, a statement emerged that immediately caught the attention of the public and racing observers. It came not from a rider, not from a commentator, but from the man who was once one of the architects of Marc Marquez's glory with Honda, Alberto Puig, HRC Honda team principal. In an interview, Puig gave his honest opinion on the progress of Marc Marquez as he chases his 9th World Championship title with the Ducati factory team. But instead of being full of optimism, Puig made a comment that sounded like a warning and a bitter reflection. Marquez's chances of winning a 9th title are very slim. Not for lack of ability, nor for lack of support from the Ducati team, now one of the main forces in MotoGP, but because of one thing that no one can control: age. If he can become world champion at this age, it will be a miracle, Puig said in no uncertain terms. The sentence was sharp, but honest. A sentence born not only from years of experience in the world of racing, but also from a deep understanding of the physical and mental pressures a rider must endure at the highest level of competition. Puig was not disparaging Marquez. On the contrary, he knows all too well the tenacity, extraordinary talent and steely mentality that have made Marquez a living MotoGP legend. Behind the praise, however, there is a lingering doubt as to how far the human body, even one born a champion like Marquez, can continue to challenge its own limits. The 2025 season is indeed a stage full of dramatic stories. Marquez, now riding for Ducati, looks fierce and once again threatens at every turn. But the road to glory is not just about speed. It is about consistency, physical endurance, and the ability to read the moment at almost unreasonable speeds. All of this, according to Puig, is a much tougher battlefield now than it was when Marquez was still in his 20s and dominating the track with Honda. As Marc Marquez continues to dazzle the world with his extraordinary performance and ruthless determination, the spotlight is now beginning to focus on Francesco Bagnaia. The defending champion seems to have lost his edge at crucial moments. Ducati general manager Davide Tardozzi finally spoke out, and his disappointment was hard to hide. "Pecco, we expected better. We wanted to see him like in the first 3 laps, when he overtook Marc with confidence and attack. Not a conservative rider who would only be happy with a 3rd podium," said Tardozzi, reflecting the growing disappointment in the Ducati garage. In fact, when Marquez was taken out of contention for the podium by an incident, it should have been a golden moment for Pecco to take control of the race. Instead, he was overtaken by Fabio Quartararo and even Alex Marquez, Marc's younger brother who rides for the Gresini satellite team. A heavy blow that made Pecco's position even more precarious, both technically, in terms of performance and the mental pressure that continues to haunt him. Now Ducati is at a crossroads, and the fate of Pecco Bagnaia is beginning to be questioned. MotoGP 2025 is no longer just a racing event, it has become an arena of psychological warfare that ignites emotions and tests the mental resilience of the riders. On the one hand, Marc Marquez is a living legend, a figure of burning passion and steely determination to return to dominance. On the other hand, Francesco Bagnaia, or Pecco, arrives with a heavy burden on his shoulders, to maintain Ducati's glory that has been built through years of hard work. Competition on the track is now not only about speed, but also about who can stay focused under the pressure. Andrea Dovizioso, Marquez's former rival and a keen observer of MotoGP, summed up Pecco's condition in a simple but piercing way. If he doesn't recover soon, history may record 2025 as the year when the champion finally falls, not because he loses speed, but because the pressure is too much to bear. Alberto Puig may have doubted Marquez, but the reality on the track speaks louder than any doubt. Marc Marquez has scored more points than any other rider, and he has done it not in an ordinary way, but in the most heroic way that only a true champion can do. Although he is getting older and injuries have affected his career, his fighting spirit has never faded. The champion's mentality, it seems, knows no time limit. This season, Marquez is not just racing. He is writing an epic chapter in his career, proving that he is not finished, and that he still has something extraordinary to give to the world of racing. If he does indeed win a 9th title, it will not just be an achievement, it will be the greatest comeback story in MotoGP history. So will Alberto Puig admit he was wrong about the champion? Let us know below.